Je vais parler de, oh boy, this lovely piece of tech called the Apple Vision Pro. I mean, I'd like to think I'm somewhat qualified to give an opinion, maybe more so than other people, because, I do love Apple for making all my dreams come true. Hey, XenPuck here. Right, this isn't particularly a video about, retiring early for a change, but more about that old corporate overlord of mine and its brand new product, the Apple Vision Pro. I'm not gonna splice in any graphics about the product because it's been all over the internet, so go Google it if you don't know what it is, or just let me describe it with the power of words, okay? It's basically Apple's answer to Oculus or all that whole VR, AR type of thing that looks like a goggle or a helmet or a dome. You know what I'm talking about, right? I've totally waited to talk about this gadget because I know I'm not a tech reviewer, okay? Just a layman. But I can give a superficial opinion, just like any regular Joe, a fanboy. Or remember, not only am I a regular consumer, but also an ex-Apple employee, okay? So the company is dear and near to my heart. And let's be clear, I have Apple stock still, right? So the company is especially dear to my heart because, I want its stock to do well. And here we are at the edge of the future for their products. So let's talk about it, right? Who would actually use this? What is it good for? And mainly about me, right? What I wanted. Anyway, if you enjoy some random rants from a dude with clearly no production skills, like, subscribe, share, comment. I'll be great regardless because I just do these things for fun. Hit that bell icon. I don't even know what that is, honestly, but people who watch YouTube more than I do probably should know, right? First question I ask myself is, who is this for, right? And guess what? I think it's for me, right? Introverts, right? Especially rich introverts. But that's almost besides the point, right? If you look around in the world after the iPhone has come out, which is basically the last decade or so, right? Has people become more connected? Maybe, but has people become better at actually interacting with each other as humans? I would argue the answer to the second question is absolutely not. Not at all, right? Social etiquette hasn't even kept up with smartphone tech, right? Just look around you. I think people look totally zombified by their phones, both in public and private spaces. Now, think about the last time that you and a loved one were hanging out together, and one of you probably thought, are we actually hanging out or are we just cohabiting the same physical space but absorbed individually in our phones? I mean, maybe that's just me, and if you have never experienced what I just described, good Lord, please let me know where you live because I want to try that place, okay? The reason for this tangential rant is simple, right? Now, do you think with these VR headsets, like the Apple Vision, whatchamacallit, do you think that's going to make the separation of human-on-human contact better or worse? Remember, it's a full-on helmet, okay? I'm gonna go with it's absolutely gonna make things worse, right? Unless, of course, you're like me, an introvert who just wants to put on something that cuts off, interaction with the rest of the world because I don't want to deal with them, at least half the time. My wife would be an exception, of course. Just imagine if I had the Apple Vision Pro on one day and my doorbell rang. Do you think I'm gonna get off my couch to go check it out? Oh my God, no, okay? Who cares about other people? This will be a great excuse for me. I love it. Okay, point number 2. What purpose does this serve? Okay, let me be frank. The only thing I can think of when I look at an Apple TV Pro, or really any of these dome projects, but Apple makes just superior software generally, right? At least a superior software-hardware combination. But what is its main use case? Primary driver. I'm going to call it porn, okay? I mean, if you just look at the example that the corporations give you, right? What does Apple think that you're going to do with this 3D memory feature? They're talking about, oh, a father who's trying to remember his kids' birthdays. That sounds really nice and heartwarming, okay? But think about your own past. How often is a father or a mother comes back and looks at the kids' past birthdays, right? I mean, I've got parents, and they love me very much. I'm the only child. Let's count the times in my entire life that they've tried to dig out and review my previous birthdays. If it's just me around, okay? I'm not counting like if I bring a girlfriend home, okay? That's just, they're trying to embarrass me. Guess what number I've come up with? It's a big fat 0, okay? 0 times. Now, do I think that these types of memory recollection events will somehow increase because the tech gets better, right? So that number might go from 0 to, I don't know, a handful? Maybe, but it's really not an event that comes up that often, right? Now let's compare that to how often any dude during the course of a day might want to picture a naked lady that looks incredibly realistic, okay? I can tell you that right now, personal experience is multiple times a day, right? I can't speak about how ladies think because I'm not a lady, but dudes, just how it is, right? Is it any wonder then porn is usually what drives technology forward, right? So I am waiting for, I mean, it's probably too much to hope for in the case of Apple, but any other third-party marketers to really hone in on this audience, okay? Until that happens, I'm just not gonna buy it, okay? This whole 3D video thing, not gonna be a real thing until porn gets totally into it. Trust me. And finally, will I get this device, right? Considering I'm exactly the type of person with disposable income and a ton of freedom. I would like to, honestly, and I might, just because I'm a man of leisure, right? But I don't know if I can think of anyone else who actually needs this thing, right? It's just, that's the thing. It's not a need for anyone. It's just a want. And right now, even the want, I think it feels like a giant unfinished toy, right? And I do reserve the right to change my mind. After all, if anyone remembers when the iPhone first came out, it looked cool, but it was kind of useless, okay? And the reason was because until, I think, a year or two later, there was no app store, right? Without app stores, we definitely couldn't picture the type of potential that iPhone became. And it might be the same case for the Vision Pro, right? It might be that some developer out there right now, you know, they're gonna unlock some new sphere of influence or interest or whatever you want to call it in the form of a game or how to live in the metaverse or whatever the heck you want to call it. I'm not that smart. I can't tell you what that sphere is going to be, right? But I do think I'm smart enough to recognize that history tends to repeat itself, right? And I, you know, being an elder millennial or whatever, I've already seen that tech surprise and delight happen once in my lifetime in terms of the iPhone, right? So it absolutely could happen again. The only question is when and with what company driving it, right? So yeah, in conclusion, do I think the Apple Vision Pro is a cool gadget right now? Yes, I think it's cool. It looks cool. It looks more beautiful than most of the other helmet, goggle, dome, whatever things. But it still feels very much like an unfinished product that's geared towards almost no currently existing demographic, right? Does that mean that I think it'll disappear entirely? No, okay. Maybe it'll turn into the iPhone. In 10 years, none of us can imagine living without it. Maybe it'll turn into the Apple TV, right? Which is a side project of the companies that continues to exist year after year and get some updates, but no one really talks about it, right? Maybe it'll turn into whatever the former name of iCloud is. Does anyone know that? Because I used to work there. I know it was Mobile Me. Neither of these products are anywhere high on the hierarchy for Apple, right? Or maybe it'll be the Apple Pippin, right? Which was a total and complete facepalm of a product that died within, like, I think a year and a half. Now, go Google that Apple Pippin and see what a beautiful and cool device that looked at the time. It attracted no audience, but it looked cool, right? So it could be that. Who the heck knows, right? What's your guess on where Apple Vision Pro is going? I would love to hear about it. Cheers, à la prochaine.